East Hampton School Board, you are live.
Thank you. Give a motion to call the meeting to order.
I make a motion.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Please rise for the pledge of allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Welcome back. Here we go for another year. These are the schools.
Yeah, well, we started school today,
Yeah.
and we had a very nice opening. Big thank you and shout out to the administrators, our building principals, our directors for making this all possible. I'll get into some specifics when I give you a review about the buildings after. But why don't we start, because you're not new anymore. Ms. Smith, you have to go first.
Awesome. Okay. Well, hello, everybody. I'll work backwards. We had a wonderful opening day. Our student association met all of our students at the door with positive signs and messages. It was great. Everybody seemed so happy to be back. I want to thank our teachers for being so positive and welcoming, and also a little behind the scenes work that went into everything going so smoothly today. I have to give credit to Ms. Collins, who did a fantastic job with the master schedule and working with counselors so that things went so well today, and working with students so that their schedules were exactly, for the most part, how they wanted them, with a few exceptions here and there. Just kind of looking at today, big picture in terms of the start of the year, if we look at last year as return to normal, and we spent so much time, being back in person and getting used to the norms of school. Today felt like that was truly behind us and lighter, and the fallout of COVID was sort of over. And it felt like we're now able to return to excellence, and it feels like everybody kind of has the bandwidth to really focus on academic achievement. And we really feel like we are hitting the ground running with that. So it was a great feeling today. We had some wonderful conference days. I would say that the highlight for us was our DEI training with Phyllis Kottner. We had been working with Phyllis via Zoom for 2 years in a small committee, but with our second conference day, we were able to have our whole faculty work with her for an overview about, why it is so important to understand our students and our families' cultures when we're making choices in our classrooms and our schools. So it was a wonderful backdrop for the year and helped set the tone for the whole year. We're hoping, depending on her schedule, to potentially have her come back on the 8th for our conference day. So I'll keep you posted on that. But our teachers loved it and found it very useful and valuable. We had a great freshman orientation going way back with a guest speaker, James Arrigo, who through the lens of the loss of his mother spoke to our incoming 9th graders about resiliency, making positive changes, all those important things for 9th graders to hear. They got their schedules, and thanks to our our student association, they also had kind of their own opportunity through an ice cream social to sign up for clubs, just targeted towards them as we're trying to get our 9th graders part of the fabric of the building and get them involved. We have homecoming next week. Surprise! Yeah, super early this year, but
Super stressful.
we're ready. Yes, we think we're ready. But I'll let Ms. Masterson fill you in on that. And we have a few students who were selected for All-State. That's Silas Jones, Sienna Lake Morse, and Nick Cooper. And yeah, that's about it. We're up and running. I just do want to give one final thank you to our 12-month employees, our custodial, our tech people, just did an incredible job. So, which allowed us to hit the ground running today. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, we're back. We had a great first day, but I'll go back in time and just take you to the 31st, which was our opening day for all of our staff. We too had DEI training for the entire day, which Adam had started a couple of years ago with Phyllis Kottner, and we had a small steering committee in the building that worked on that for a couple of years. And the 31st was all about getting everybody together The faculty worked in groups, and Phyllis led them through an entire day around issues of diversity, equity, and inclusion. And it was great. It was productive. It was a wonderful start up to the year, and I was happy that it was that Wednesday. And also that concurrently on that Wednesday, we welcomed all of our new sixth graders and Amagansett seventh graders, and then brand new seventh and eighth graders. And it was quite a crew. I had a group of boys in the front row who were answering every question about respect, because that's one of the things that we do together is just generate what does respect look like across our 5 cores. So they had a lot to say, which is good because it was initially a shy group. And then when we talked about respecting your parents, and I asked, well, what do those behaviors look like? What do you do? For the first time in 10 years, I've never heard this before. And of course, I made a big deal out of it. A student, she raised her hand and she said, well, I clean the bathroom once a week at home. And I said, oh my God, that's amazing as a household chore. And you saw parents look at their kids like, So it was good. I mean, look, chores are important, but I never had that answer before, ever. And then today was great. Save, a little bit of rain, it was a little soggy, but it was a good start, good feeling in the building. It's amazing how quickly the kids just fall into the routine. And like Sarah said, for us, it really does feel like we're back very normally. However, about, I would say 10% of the kids were wearing masks, and we address that as part of respect, particularly at our level. That becomes something to tease somebody about. I mean, everything is fair game for teasing, unfortunately, and that's part of growing up and part of middle school. As much as we work to minimize that, but the masks fall into that category too. So our metaphor is, look, it's like a scarf. If you feel cold or you're feeling like you're sick or you're in a spot where there are a lot of people, you can put the mask on. And our staff do that throughout the day just to help kids feel comfortable. Because it is, 10% is not insignificant, but it definitely feels like we're back, and we do have the bandwidth to move forward without much, hoopla around the masks, at least, hopefully for now and forever. So that was our beginning.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Ms. Cunin.
Good evening. I will also talk a little bit about our Pro Grow Days. It was so strange. I had said to Mr. Fine and Mr. Thumb this morning to be back today, the Tuesday right after Labor Day. But our 2 professional development days on the 31st and the 1st were so productive. We are embarking on a new ELA curriculum, and so our teachers were all trained in that. And then we also had the wonderful opportunity to have Phyllis work with our entire building. We also had a small steering committee the past year working with her, and the whole staff was delighted to be able to spend time with her. She just has this amazing way about her, and it definitely also got us off on the right foot. So those were our 2 training days. And then today, the students, it was just delightful to have everybody back in the building, smiling faces, really a huge success, I would say. The one thing we did feel was a bit of congestion at our drop off and but I had to remind myself that this happened last year as well. And we encourage, especially our kindergarten, 1st and 2nd grade families, they parked and wanted to walk their children in. So we know that that's going to happen for 1 or 2 days, and then everybody will get back into the routine. And then I also will share that on Monday, the 12th, morning music starts. So will Project Most. If students were not in this morning for Breakfast Club, the word will get out and Breakfast Club will happen. So some of that congestion will start to dissipate in the morning and the afternoon, so we won't have as much traffic at those arrival and dismissal times. But overall, a tremendous success, and we're looking forward to the year. Thank you.
Thank you.
Ms. Masterson, would you like?
Oh, it's my first one. I'm a little nervous for notes and everything. I'll pick up first. Thank you so much for having me again. I'm going to publicly say sorry to my favorite Sandra, because I sent her the email with the home football games asking for us to have coverage, and I set the wrong date, and she got mad at me. But she forgives me because I own it. But that's okay. We got a big week next week. First homecoming. Wish it was a little bit more in October, but we're dealing with it. Been a little stressful, been waking up at night worrying about if I got eggs and bacon and them not showing up and I'm not gonna be able to feed people. Those are the wicked dreams you have as an athletic director when you're getting close to homecoming. But for those of you who haven't, which is 95% of Board of Education, if you could just respond to me, let me know if you're coming for breakfast so I can make sure I have enough eggs for everybody, especially because we are going to honor the great Sandra Bobo. Okay, so we would love to see you. Just got noticed, it's a good thing being tight with Section 11 because, you know, I thought all the games had been changed and I got an email from a couple of parents on our swim team that there was going to be a swim meet on Friday at 5 o'clock at Sachem. So I begged and pleaded and the powers that be got us to move the game and I just got the official confirmation. I was sitting there, that's why I was smiling. So our girls swim team will be moved to Wednesday and they will all be able to be at the dance on Friday night. Pray for sun, because, you know, we need to dance outside. We have been back since the 22nd, so it has been great. We have had great numbers this fall so far. Boys soccer at 67 kids. Middle school right now is 25 signed up. Middle school will start on Thursday, so we get the middle school kids, you know, accustomed to the building and what's gonna go on and give them a couple more days to get everything signed up. Girls soccer had 53, middle school right now we have 14 signed up. Field hockey started out with 44, middle school we have 17 signed up. Boys volleyball and girls volleyball had 31 and 33 kids signed up this year. Tennis, we have 24, middle school we have 9 signed up currently. Football, we have 54 total for JV and varsity, and at the middle school level, right now we have 41 kids already signed up. So those are all great numbers. Boys cross country, 23, girls 10, co-ed cross country in middle school 6. Again, it's early. These kids are still learning how to go through this process. Swimming, we have 19, golf, we have 24, cheerleading, we have 2, but this is when we start getting the kids back in. Someone has told me this is when we get back to school is when she really grabs the kids. For your knowledge, for the Bridgehampton kids, we have 5 kids playing currently with us, 4 on football, 1 on girls JV soccer. We have 27 total kids from Pearson, 6 football players, 4 soccer players, 12 tennis players, and 5 swimmers. Okay, but it's been a great start. The energy has been phenomenal. Our boys volleyball team just won. They won their 2nd game in a row, beat East Islip last week and just beat Trome Wading River. And girls had a great win. Girls field hockey had a great win over Miller Place.
Yeah.
All right, and we're looking forward to some great. Yes, sir.
Any of the fall sports have to cut kids?
We had a couple of cuts at the girls soccer level, but it was, the writing was on the wall, was a couple seniors trying to come out, you know, just to pad their resume a little bit, but not really anything that wasn't warranted, so to speak. But everybody, I didn't get one, which is the first time in 17 years, I didn't get one angry phone call about a kid being cut, which I cannot believe. I've gotten a lot of great phone calls, yeah, a couple.
I don't have your number yet.
Yeah. I'm used to it, but a couple great phone calls on how amazing our coaches have been, and we really have an amazing staff, and they work really hard.
Will transporting our kids to away games be a problem?
Yes.
This year?
Yep.
And will we have to cancel games?
I don't think we're
How do we
gonna
get
have to cancel, we're gonna have to move
We're
some
using
things.
Sundays again.
Yes.
Like, you know, we were flexible last year and Kathy and I have already talked this year. And I didn't even think it was just common sense. I mean, I don't think I want to waste the board's time with, you know, every time we have to talk about moving to a Sunday.
Yeah.
It just is practical and it's always, it's 99% time. It's transportation related. We had to adjust some things at BOCES this year to accommodate athletics, which is, you know, was an equal trade-off. It wasn't something, but because it would have impacted so much some of our sports teams going, and then we ended up mitigating it, and it really ended up affecting, you know, just a couple of students, which everybody's in their program, but transportation is a massive issue.
Yeah, so we met, Kaylin and I went over and met with Joe and Joel, and they're awesome guys, but the bottom line is that they can't just make bus drivers. So I know that Adam and Tim have been working really hard at trying to get us to, like, I'm gonna become a bus driver as soon as we're available to do it out here, because it makes sense. If I can get my kids and we have a game at Southampton and he can get a bus driver later, if I can run them over there or someone can run them over there, it makes sense for our kids that not to have to. But like, it's an adjustment, and it's an adjustment every athletic director has been dealing with for the past 2 years. So this is nothing new. Today when the field hockey game got canceled, Kaylin and I look, we take 2 sets of eyes, and I know Joel and Joe do too, and we can see, I'm like, okay, I can get 2 teams on this bus. We have a JV tennis match and we have a JV girls soccer match. One's going to Shoreham and one's going to Rocky Point. You can put them on the same bus because they're right next to each other, and we can send another bus to pick them up. You just have to think outside the box and how we can get these guys to where they need to be.
And football's JV and varsity?
Football's JV and varsity. Struggling a little bit with some from varsity numbers.
Yeah.
Saturday was a great scrimmage. We played Oyster Bay. They came out here. We looked really good. We looked really, our kids, it was a good open for us because it gave us some confidence going into Wyandanch, especially coming Saturday. So, we'll play Northport in the morning for JV because Wyandanch doesn't have a JV, and then go to Wyandanch in the afternoon.
And we're up a league.
Yes,
It's gonna be a tough year football-wise.
it is, but Conference 3 isn't the caliber that Conference 3 used to be. And Conference 4 has a lot of teams that should be in Conference 3.
Good.
Going into Conference 4 right now, you're talking about Miller Place, Kings Park, Shoreham Winning River, that are all crushing teams, that are all going to do, and we would have been right in the middle of that mix in Conference 4. Right now, I think we're okay in Conference 3 and where we're holding. Yeah, it's, seeing the numbers that we have, the middle school kids coming up, and the JV, the JV numbers are really steady at 32. We're gonna keep building. We brought on Matt Fulham, who was one of my football coaches at West Hampton Beach. He's retired from West Hampton Beach. His kids went through here. He's doing amazing things. Joe loves him, and he's like, Kathy, it's been like such a good teachable moment with Joe too, because you're coming from a guy who's an educator in here and helping. And we at West Hampton Beach, we started out really, my first couple of years there, we were 2 or 3 wins and everything else was a loss, and built that program. So, starts with baby steps, and we're gonna, really work with it. And flag football will start next Friday, so we're excited about that too. Yeah, they're doing really great things. Next step is to get our boys and our girls in that weight group. That's what we need to do next.
Yes, great.
Any other further questions for me? Again, thanks so much. I'm
Thank you.
really excited to
Welcome.
be here and take part.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Just want to give the board the enrollment update. I'll take that from, I think, new business. High school, 1,023, middle school, 270, John Marshall, 542, overall total, 1,835. Little down overall, but high school's pretty stable. I think John Marshall and the middle school are down a tad. Yeah.
And that could change in the
Yeah.
next 2 weeks.
Yep.
Exactly,
Absolutely.
September, at the end of September.
Yeah,
you'll
September
know.
is always like.
I mean, I'm just fully booked for next 2 weeks.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly, which will tell us a lot.
Right.
We good with the schools?
Good.
All right, Matt, do you have anybody for a public comment for agenda items?
There's nobody on the line, sir.
Thank you very much.
Surprise.
Yeah, and superintendent report, I'm sorry, we had to do consent agenda, right? Can I have a motion for the consent agenda?
I'll make a motion.
Second,
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Because before we move on, I think Adam wanted to say something quick about the consent agenda.
Yeah, so, different people retire at different times. I know Karen Powers is retiring, who was at John Marshall last year, long-term paraprofessional in East Hampton. I think we wanted to wish her best of luck in her retirement. Again, the timing of this is all for what we've done, and of course, we'll invite her back for our retirement celebration in June. But I think it was definitely something, we wanted to say publicly because it was in consent. The other one, a little more long-term, Dave Cheney, bus driver, jack of all trades, just good soul, is finally hanging him up. Retiring and going off to, I guess, better places. But I mean, Dave's been just an absolute, rock in East Hampton and forever. And we talk about transportation, we just lost a bus driver.
Yeah, exactly. Somebody that did all the sports games and all, and everything under the sun, so hard to replace.
Yeah.
Maybe you can
Two
come back
good
to the
people.
sub.
Yes.
every day.
Yeah, full-time. All right. Superintendent's report and recommendations.
Do we have to do the consent agenda and vote on that? We did.
We did.
Are we voting on that already?
Yep.
I'm sorry.
All right, so
I'm
number
sorry,
one.
I'm still jet lagged.
That- Recommend the board approve the following resolution. Resolved that Jenny Ross is, upon the recommendation of the superintendent of schools, appointed to a family consumer science teaching position for a probationary term to commence August 31st, 2022, expires of August 30th, 2026, subject to and pending to obtaining certification as a family and consumer science teacher at the annual salary of $57,875. Have a motion?
I make a motion.
Second.
Second. Any discussion?
I just have to comment, because Adam knows, she baked my wedding cake. She did an excellent job, so good luck to the.
There you go.
You know, Will, I just want to say, Ms. Ross came highly recommended, obviously, from our community. Non-traditional manner of filling this position with New York State certifications. She is someone who's an expert in the field. We are permitted to bring people in who are expert tradesmen or tradeswomen in those fields to become teachers. Ultimately, over the next few years, she has to satisfy a few things for New York State, but it is a great way to bring somebody with real life experience in. And ultimately, we will also be doing that for our automotive program
Yes.
and trying to hire an expert mechanic to come work with the students of East Hampton for the 23-24 school year. So you do not have to be certified, but you do have to have a long conversation with Mr. Fromm about getting that certification and what it
I think it's
entails.
great.
Yeah.
I think it's a great way for people to get certified.
Yeah.
and it's a
Kids
great way to
benefit,
teach our
it's
kids.
tremendous.
In that, in
Tremendous.
those fields, I think it's perfect for it.
Yes.
Yep.
But it's
Well-
also just as a sidebar and along, is like everything you read these days is all talking about the importance of
Yep.
career path education in our schools. And I think that, not to break my arm patting ourselves on the back, but we've been talking about that sort of before it was in vogue to talk about it and put these things in place. So, we're so far ahead of where other people are right now, close to having well programs and all of these things.
Yep.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
And our goal for the
more needed.
automotive is to start in the fall.
Yep, that's the goal.
So
Next.
right
Yes.
now, we'll be searching for someone to run that program.
Yes, so if you know anyone.
Please let us know.
So when I fix my first car.
That's right. Welcome, but all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Number two, recommend the board approve the following resolution. Resolve that the Board of Education of the East Hampton Union Free School District pursuant to Rule 14 of the Suffolk County Civil Service Commission and upon the recommendation of the superintendent of schools, does hereby appoint John Collins to the position of custodial worker 1 for a probationary period of 26 weeks, commencing September 7th, 2021, and is to be paid at the annual salary basis at $47,238. Can I have a motion?
Make a motion.
Second.
Second. Any discussion?
Placement.
Good placement.
Yep.
All in
Good
favor?
job.
Aye.
Yes, welcome for sure.
Yes.
Number three, recommend the board approve the following appointments for the 2022-23 school year. That begins with night supervisor and custodians, starting with Samuel France at the annual stipend of $3,750. It goes down to spring prep, varsity girls at $6,369. Can I have a motion?
Make a motion.
Second?
Second.
Any discussion? Pretty standard stuff, spots we need to fill. And there's I see there's a volunteer in there,
Yeah,
Bill Herzog,
yeah.
thank you, Bill.
Yeah.
And
And Nancy McGrath.
Nancy, we received that, listen, yeah, Nancy's done that for several years, thank you to both of you very much. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Number four, recommend the board approve the following resolution. Resolve that the board approve the following appointments to teach an additional section of instruction effective September 6, 2022, for the 2022-23 school year with compensation as follows. And it begins with Jennifer Muser at $15,840 and Kelly Doyle at $17,104. Can I have a motion?
Make a motion. I'll second.
Second. Any discussions? All
Overages
contractual.
in family consumer science, which again,
Yeah,
our program
very
is
popular.
thriving with, across the board and will hopefully feed our commercial kitchen program.
Okay.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Number five, recommend the board approve the following contracts and agreements and authorizes the president of the Board of Education to sign the contracts and agreements. Begin with number one, BOCES contract, and down to number 8, memorandum of agreement for the East Hampton Union Free School District and the County of Suffolk for the purposes of Suffolk providing grant monies to East Hampton Union Free School District in accordance with section 719-8 of the Suffolk County Code for its participation in previously entered into opt-in agreements regarding Suffolk School Bus Stop Arm Program. Have a motion?
I'll make a motion.
Second?
Second.
Any discussion? It's all standard again, things that need to be done and all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Number 6, recommend the board approve the following resolution. I'm not going to read the whole thing, just going to warn you up front. Whereas the Board of Education of the East Hampton Union Free School District is desirous of funding certain reserves allowable by law using fund balances in order to save money and plan for expenses in the future fiscal years. And it goes on to what we're filling, what reserve you're filling. If you want to look at that, you probably want to look at it online so you can understand it, but it's all to prepare and do budgeting, proper budgeting. Can I have a motion?
Make it.
Second.
Second. Discussion? Sam, do you want to, anything to add to this?
This is money that's left over from last year's budget. We're putting it into reserves in the amounts that are there to offset future expenses. Responsible budgeting for doing the excess fund balance.
Right, and it's one of the funds that we opened this year was the maintenance repair, right?
Repair
So
reserves
we're
were funded, so-
now we're funding it. And that's what it's about.
Great.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Number 7, recommend the board approve the following bids for the 2022-23 school year. There's a bunch of them. So we'll go from 1 to 4. For the last one. Have a motion?
Make a motion.
Second?
Second.
Any discussion? This again is standard. It's for
I
different.
mean, the only thing I think it's worth discussing
Number
here
one.
is because a lot of these, it's yearbook, we're going back to the yearbook, it's the graduation, but I don't know that, and maybe I wasn't here, if we've had a public discussion about driving, and that's contract. that's
Yeah.
coming here. So I think we
It's
should have a conversation and at least
Yeah.
talk about the parameters of that contract. You want to do it?
Yeah, I mean, with driver's education, I think from my perspective, it's and being a parent of a new driver, and accessibility to driver's education out here. We were very, I don't want to say certain people were very lucky, not the parents weren't lucky because they had to drive with their kids. We had to, run our driver's ed program just with theory only due to COVID. And that caused a lot of parents, a lot of angst because they had to make up those 24 hours with their kids in the car driving and providing instruction. This year, we're not doing that, but we also have limited car seats because we only have one car available to us. There's just not resources out here for driving. And years ago, East Hampton ran driver's ed embedded in its school day. And to be 100% honest with you, after talking, a lot with Tim Fromm, with Sam to a certain extent, I do think it's something that we should, again, consider doing and embedding it in the day for our kids. There's nothing more important than driving, and to get that driving experience with a qualified instructor. The theory would be embedded during the day, and so would the driving be during the day. The budgetary impact of that overall, and I'm speaking without numbers. I think from the staffing perspective, I think we could repurpose and reallocate current staffing, meaning not replacing certain retirements where we are going down the road. And again, I have to go over the numbers with Sam and Tim with that. I think overall, the big expense to this would be the purchase of 2 automobiles for this. We would need 2 cars and specially equipped cars. And Sam and I haven't even dove into that side of the deep end to look at cars, getting cars, obtaining cars for that, because we and in conjunction with you as the board have to discuss if that's the way we want to go. I do highly recommend it. I think we are in a unique situation on the east end of Long Island. There's not many resources out here.
Yeah, you have to drive and you have to have people
Right.
in order to teach it. And it's hard.
Yeah.
It's very hard.
Right now, I have 1 driver's education teacher. To be honest, to make this at all feasible, I still have to find another teacher who could teach and is certified to teach driver's education.
Right.
So it's not something even I'm getting way ahead of myself now talking about it, but I do think it is something
We
that
should
is reasonable. It is something our kids can benefit, and I really don't think there's anything more. I mean, there's a lot of important things that come out of school, obviously, but when we talk about putting our kids behind the wheel with the proper training and proper access to instruction, it is important, especially out here on these roads.
So for next year's budget, you're gonna be prepared to recommend to us that we maybe do that, and here are the costs, here are the staffing situations, and
Yes.
this is what we're gonna get better for it.
Yeah, I don't know if any of us were on the board when they removed it. It was a lot of
I mean,
pushback at the time.
We, at the time.
You had no choice.
It's probably my first year or the second year, I mean,
Right. when
we've
the
sort of
cap-
adjusted, we've right-sized and adjusted to the 2% budget cap, but at the beginning, for those, I was the only one
It was
who's
hard.
still here from the board. I mean, we laid off people.
Yeah.
We reduced administrators, we laid off staff. It was a
painful.
very, it was a little bit of a bloodbath, and this just went.
But anybody
That
that's,
was one of the things that.
but anybody that sits here on this board that went to school locally,
Yeah.
all had it included in school. I did, you
Yeah.
did, you go on.
We
down
were
to
the only district though at the time that did it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
And I think it was the budget year.
Yeah.
I think it was the year that 14 people lost their jobs.
It was definitely,
Yeah.
it was definitely to try and make up to beat the 2%.
Yeah, there was no choice. I think
Time or whatever it was.
Yeah.
It was a
Increase.
budgetary decision. I mean,
Yeah.
it was.
Yes.
Right.
it'll increase parents' life expectancy as well, just saying. But anyway,
But
I
yes,
think
we will
it's
have
something-
that in a presentation down the road, obviously, too. We have more of the numbers, first to the academic and then to the board as well.
Good. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Number 8.
Oh, here we go, sorry. Number 8, recommend that the board approve the following budget transfers. Can I have a motion?
Make a motion.
Second,
Second.
discussion? Do you want to add anything, Sam, here? It's just,
This is the money to purchase some additional security lockdown devices, those blue buttons in the panic box that we need in the building.
good. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? And we're back. Old business, go ahead, I'll turn it over.
Building walkthroughs, big thank you, and the principals voted this publicly at our staff meeting to the 3 head custodians, Elsie Nelson, Anthony Hayes, Kurt Ottman, for their incredible hard work. The board, we did some walkthroughs before school. The buildings all were in immaculate shape. Thank you to Dave and the grounds guys. Very impressive considering the amount of work that needs to be done to prepare school. And again, you saw it today, my feet were still squeaking in all 3 of the buildings. So it was very, very nice to see.
New business. We did a
Yes. Enrollment we did?
COVID, you want to discuss anything?
Yeah.
New business or?
New, yeah.
I just wanted to say, we thank the teachers, the custodians, the secretaries, everybody, administrators, but with Adam and Tim and Sam have done a lot of work this summer
Yeah.
to get us up and running with a lot going on. And Tim has hired 50,000 people. Which is good, which is all good. And want to say a
Very
big
true.
thank you to them also. I think our district has started off on a good foot, and we have a lot of thank yous out there. We've got a great bunch of people working for our district here.
Me too.
True. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you.
New business, in addition, COVID-19 pandemic updates I sent out to parents. As a district right now, we are strongly recommended and we are doing, if kids or staff members get sick, it's 5 days, 5 days for quarantine, and they have to wear a mask, days 6 to 10. That all went out. It's posted on the website. One of the things that Tim and I grappled with, we talked about, is just the dissemination of information regarding numbers and whatnot. And right now, I gave the directive to the principals. We are under no reporting obligations right now with New York State. The principals are not going to be sending out COVID updates. I'm not going to be sending out COVID updates weekly. We're treating it right now. And I want to stress right now to the community, as you know, if people get ill, they're ill. I don't, right now give regular flu updates, but I will say, and this was, Tim backed off when I said this. I go, if things change, we obviously reserve the right to step back and look at the way we're, maybe we're going to start sending some updates out. Maybe principals will, but we're not doing it right now. And again, as we have said throughout the last 3 years with the pandemic, we are heeding the advice of our medical professionals and advisors on a daily basis. We just got another delivery today of 1,800 new COVID tests. They've been delivered to the buildings. I did say that in my message that if parents would like them, they should really contact the nurses at their buildings, but we do have them. And hopefully, everything kind of.
Yeah, hopefully parents will come
Yes.
pick them up and keep them on
And use them,
hand
yeah,
and use
people
them.
have gradually, not gradually, just continually picked them up, asked if they can have them, they have a bunch,
Right.
so, it's been good. I mean, again, the community has been great asking questions and keeping kids sick home from school. Again, that's a reminder, please do your best, we want to be here, we want to be, you heard from the principals, we want to be in school and we want to have this type of year, so that's where we are. Good.
So if there's a positive case in your class, though, you won't be notified anymore. It's sort of.
Yeah, you're out really up to, because the person will be quarantined, they could be back in school. So we're not,
You may not even know.
yeah,
Right.
we're really not disseminating that
All of that
information
information,
anymore, and again, if we start seeing different patterns, it starts large numbers, that doesn't eliminate like Karen or Charlie, or we might have to, start sending those messages.
Okay.
We're trying to, it's kind of, again, this kind of new normal, we want to play it and keep it the way it's going, but it might manifest itself into something else that we need to, let people know that 20 kids in a class are COVID. I mean,
Right.
I think we will always defer to common
It's gonna
sense when it
change.
comes to that.
Mhm.
Yeah.
It's going to change 100
And our
times.
nursing staff.
If what I'm hearing
Yes.
is college
They've been
campuses,
great.
I mean, I think we're gonna expect it. I mean, there's gonna be a big wave of
Yeah, no
COVID that's
doubt.
gonna come through here.
Yep.
And I just think it's expecting it, and I think the panic
Hasn't gone away.
is just
No.
different than it was. It's just, it's here. We're gonna have it. So just be
Um,
courteous.
Well,
Get on.
I think what's gonna be different about COVID coming through us, people are not gonna be that sick.
People are
They're gonna have COVID, but they're not gonna be hospitalized, but they're gonna have COVID. And it's gonna be transmitted,
We're still getting sick.
and
A lot of
the
people
big
are more
worry we
sick.
have is students coming in unmasked when they have
There's the
COVID.
new booster.
Yeah.
Right, so. Yeah, that's coming out soon, right,
This
this
week.
fall?
This week,
Yes.
supposed to be available. Yeah,
Right,
this
so
week.
that will help.
Get your flu shot, get your booster.
Matt, do we have anybody for public comment?
There are no callers on the line.
Thank you.
Surprise, surprise.
So the only thing left I have to say is the committee schedule, which I had a second ago. Now,
Didn't we get a notice that changed some of these?
So
Yes.
Sep- September board committee schedule, September 15th. Is academic, the other two have been canceled, so it's 1 o'clock.
Yes.
So the other two are no longer. The 22nd is the community housing committee at 1 PM. And September 29th is facilities at 9:15, audit immediately following, and athletics at 2. So put that on your calendar. Have a motion to adjourn?
Make a motion.
Second? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, thank you very much.